writing of the book, and he's also a professor at the Jamaican Asia Pacific University, Japan. Let me greet him for a while. Professor Suzuki, how are you?
Thank you very much. So, selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi, Professor.
Yeah, can you hear me?
The floor is yours, Professor. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
It's a great honor to be invited today to the book launch event on growth of Islamic banking, Indonesia, which was recently published from Routledge. First of all, so I wish to thank all the staff of SEBI School of Islamic Economics for coming on today's event. Terutama Bapak Doni, terima kasih ya. So I'm Yasushi Suzuki, so the co-author of this book. So perhaps I should not be a guest because I'm the co-author of this book. I would have to hear many critiques on our book from the distinguished guests and the scholars here. Therefore, I'm afraid that I'm not the right person to deliver one of the keynote speeches. However, please allow me to take this opportunity to touch on the possible contribution of this book before having critiques from the participants of this event. First, I believe that this book contributes to making sense of the extraordinarily low penetration of Islamic banking in Asia. Though Indonesia is the largest Muslim majority nation all over the world, market share of Islamic banks in Indonesia is extraordinarily low. This is a big puzzle, not only the academic debate, but also in the practitioners' debate. In order to become prudent and Sharia-compliant fund providers, Islamic banks must earn the profit enough to compensate the transaction cost of Sharia compliance while competing with conventional banks who do not have to take care of the Sharia compliance. Our research is supportive for the concept of Islamic bank grant, in which Islamic banks need to earn extra profit to become prudent and Sharia compliant fund providers. In our analysis, Indonesia's Islamic banks fail to earn the Islamic bank grant, which is one of the root causes of the extraordinarily low penetration of Islamic banking in Indonesia. Second, I believe that this book contributes to offering a number of evidences for the need of governmental initiatives of incubating Islamic banking in Indonesia. Dr. Sigit well traced how the regulatory framework for incubating Islamic banking has been evolving in Indonesia in this book, while comparing the case of Asia. Probably a certain level of competition among the neoliberalism observed in the current regulatory framework for banking in Indonesia is necessary. However, the government should have sought for an optimal balance between conventional and Islamic banking from the perspective of facilitating more funds from Muslim investors, which would be contributing to the society's growth and development, resulting in benefiting not only Muslim, but also non-Muslim people in Indonesia. This book contributes to give a warning to a naive expectation of the current neoliberal regulations on banking in Indonesia. Third, and lastly, in a chapter of this book, we offer the idea of introducing that Rafal Haraj, removal of hardship benchmark, into the process of compliance. Here, compliant benchmark is a necessary condition for approving all the banking transactions by Islamic banks. However, in our view, the Sharia compliant benchmark is not always a sufficient condition because usurious trade is not yet prohibited, even in Muslim majority nations, while usually in terms of unacceptable interest is legally prohibited widely all over the world. In short, the market pricing of murabaha may possibly exploit the borrowers if the markup level is usurious. I believe that this idea of introducing the Rafal Haraj benchmark will bring a new angle to the debate on that prohibition river. I must stop my keynote speech here. So I look forward to hearing your critiques on our book. Finally, so I wish to put my remark. My contribution to this book is limited. This book is the result of that achievement of Sigit's doctoral research, as well as of the achievement his wife and their family for supporting his doctoral research in Japan. I'm more than happy to see that their achievement is actually realized in the form of this book. So congratulations and thank you very much, and terima kasih banyak.
Sama-sama, Bro.
Thank you so much, Professor Suzuki. Congratulations to you too, and Dr. Sigit. Okay.
Yeah, thank you
All
much.
right.
Yeah, terima kasih
Okay.
banyak ya.
Okay. We will move on to the second keynote speech, which is going to be delivered by Bapak Kemal Aziz Tambul. Okay. Assalamualaikum Pak Kemal.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for joining us, Pak Kemal.
Thank you.
Pak Kemal Aziz Tambul is the President Commissioner of PT BTPN Syariah. Okay, so he's going to deliver the keynote speech right now. Okay, so Pak Kemal, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm sorry, but the voice is not smooth. It got cut off in some way. Is it okay now? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, but you know the sound is not very perfect in this case. Well, may I just greetings to Professor Dorojatun. I know Dato Muhammad Daud Bakar is supposed to be here. I haven't seen him. But also my colleague, Dr. Suminto, who is supposed to be here as well, but not yet here. But allow me to greet the co-authors, Pak Dr. Sigit Pramono, and also Professor Dr. Suzuki. Dr. Suzuki, it's been quite a while. We met about a couple of years ago.
Yeah, sure.
In Jakarta.
Yeah, terima kasih.
It was a good meeting. And
Yeah,
surprised that I'm
good.
invited here to speak. And of course, I hope, as you mentioned, that there will be a much more deeper discussion that will be led by our colleague, Dr. Rifki Ismail, Mr. Erwin, is a friend of mine as well, and Ibu Rahmatina, and also Professor Dr. Eis. I hope they will, of course, discuss in much deeper. I'm just basically, just to be participating in this launch, and I'm honored to be invited to speak. And this book, Growth of Islamic Banking in Indonesia, Theory and Practice, is a very, very, I would say, interesting and also informative book. And I would like to congratulate the authors that has done this, because the launch is quite timely as well, because during this time, the activity of Bank Syariah is very much giving a focus by the government. And I think we all know that, this book, in a way, opens our eyes to the issues, to the questions always been in our mind. Why Indonesia, as the greatest Muslim country, despite the fact that there are already so many regulatory initiatives that has been implemented, which I think is the purpose for those regulation are to facilitate and support Islamic bank as an industry. And it has been developed for almost 25 years. But in reality, the Islamic financial growth here in Indonesia is less than expected. Yeah, I have to speak slowly, perhaps, so that I can hear myself. I think this book, when I read it, it described what are the root causes of this stagnation in the development of the Islamic bank, and also the reasons of all kinds of conditions that actually, in my view, is slowing the pace of its development. But to be fair, since a couple of years, to be exact, probably in the last 2, there has been a change in the whole situation, because I see that the government has already taken the step as suggested in the book as well, where one of the things to make the leap is to create a large Islamic bank. And the government has already merged 3 government banks, Bank Syariah Mandiri, Bank BRI Syariah, and Bank BNI Syariah, to become one bank called Bank Syariah Indonesia. In fact, the next beginning of February, they will launch officially as a new bank called Bank Syariah Indonesia. And I have to congratulate the government of their also concern and understanding they need a large bank that has a significant position in this domain of industry. And I think unless we have such a bank, I don't think it will be at par with the competition with the conventional bank. I think hopefully the intention is this new bank will be capitalized on the scale as well as the possibility of technical efficiency, which is accumulated as a merged big bank. And I'm sure if they are moving at the right pace, this can contribute as a player that will provide a kind of level playing field to play in competition with the conventional bank. Why that this book interests me when reading is that it provides a lot of explanation from the beginning. What are the things that needs to be reviewed and what are the things to be taken and understood in implementing Sharia Bank. Just to give a little bit of a layman perspective, because I'm not a academician, I'm just a practitioner. And basically, a Sharia Bank is on how we can make life easier, and we can do to make this effort as something that is actually very important. For example, Sharia is actually built on a foundation that emphasizes on the welfare for the people. And therefore, this welfare actually creates the understanding of what can be developed in terms of justice on being a fair and wise well-being. That's why I think the primary purpose of the implementation of Sharia, known as Muqasid al-Sharia in human life, is very closely related to the concept of maslahah, or the public interest of benefits. And the purpose is to assist realization of social economic justice and to preserve welfare and the livelihood of the people. And also interesting, in the, if I'm not mistaken, it's on chapter 10, you wrote something about hypothesis explaining low penetration of Indonesia Islamic Bank using the benchmark of Sharia based on Rafa al-Haraj and also the Sharia compliant vision of riba. I would like to emphasize that fundamental challenge for Islamic Bank is how to be able to create benefits for the community. So there is a need to have some sort of social impact to the society. For example, if we provide services, especially to our poor people or near poor, emphasize a new kind of framework where the basic principle in Islamic law is to facilitate taisir or climate unnecessary trouble, or we removing of the hardship, Raf al-Haraj. So in today's situation, those principles on prohibition of riba is still being upheld as the principle, but there must be a way how we can create position to make it easier for people to understand and how to deal with this kind of prohibition. One or the other thing that is being explained in your book is that this is an interpretation of a practitioner. The approach of selecting and understanding to be applied into the market has to be relevant and acceptable to the customer. And this is about creating benefit. And therefore, you may probably use segmentation in approaching the society. So perhaps in your proposal, the government can establish a specialized Islamic bank upon some sort of a government initiative that is focused on certain area or certain segment. So all we expect not only to maximize the economic growth, but also I think the wealth and consumption, but also contribute for the well-being of all in establishing society prosperity. It means that the potential of zakat, wakaf, sukuk, and everything else can contribute to the blended of optimum financing. And I think the examples of this, you have to be able to develop a product that can serve and provide benefit for those who are to a Sharia atmosphere. So this segmentation is very, very important, because the interpretation of implementing the product is quite different in different segments. Hence, I would like to say, of course, that we still need the government to provide the bank grant condition, which I think required, because we are facing not an dealing with the competition of with the conventional bank, and they have been established longer and, of course, better capacity. So we need some more incentives to be given to the new players so that they can incubate their product properly. And I also agree that you mentioned in the epilogue of this book that at the end that we must try not to be trapped in a diminishing equilibrium by their Sharia compliance. And to some extent, we hope that technology and also the new approach on the FATMA and the model of Sharia financial institution can also be reducing the transaction cost for Sharia compliance.
Yes.
So I think the Islamic mode of finance is expected to contribute not only to facilitating material prosperity, but also enhancing people's quality of life and realizing what they can achieve. So it means that the purpose of a Sharia bank is not just to focus on wealth distribution, but also assist people in creating wealth or wealth creation process. And I think it is the main message that I can gather from this book. So most of the content of this book is reflecting a journey of how Bank Syariah has to develop itself in this new modern world. And we hope that the government can provide continuous support for the bank able to incubate and develop all the new products to be understood by the society in a positive way. Can I have just 2 minutes to share my experience with my BTPN Syariah? We have made serious effort to turn Sharia Bank into a bank that focuses on serving the productive poor segment of families. It's a long process because it needs to be accompanied by developing a program on empowerment activities, increase skills, and opening opportunity so that they can grow and become inspiring others. This series of action, method, and processes in providing services to this underprivileged customer are specific and are designed in such a way that they can apply it effectively. Of course, in doing this is not only constrained by remote areas, inadequate infrastructure, often becomes a challenge to reach their existence. So it is not an easy way, and it requires careful planning, and it requires readiness to be able to build an ecosystem, not only in the form of product and services, but also availability of proper facilities, infrastructure, both customer and the operations in the field. So in changing the lives of millions of Indonesia in this segment, the role of Sharia ecosystem through empowerment activities makes productive underprivileged customer to have a perspective and new behaviors had enabled themselves to lead a more meaningful life. It shows that Sharia principle has strong foundation that can be applied in society where the needs are being addressed accordingly. Therefore, I'm confident and optimist that the future is bright. Affirmative action of the government in supporting and allows innovations that are relevant to today's situation and demand. I think I have said what I can cover in a very quick reading of the book. Allow me also to welcome other speakers from this session to provide debate and also insight about this book. So thank you very much for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Kemal, for sharing with us. Okay, so the point is that Islamic banks should create positive impact. Okay, so the impact should be social and economic welfare to all people, especially the community. All right, we will go on to the next second keynote address, which is delivered by Datuk Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar.
Ya, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for joining us, Datuk. So let me introduce a little about Datuk Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar. So he is the president of International Islamic University of Malaysia. Datuk Daud Bakar, the floor is yours. Datuk, can you hear me?
Yeah, it was breaking up just now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yes, go ahead, Datuk. Please give us some perspective.
Should I call you back because the line is not that stable?
Datuk, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, but it was breaking up.
It's breaking up. Okay. So go ahead, Datuk. We can hear you loud and clear from here.
Okay, very good. Okay, if I may start, okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi al-amin, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you very much for having me in this great morning. We are celebrating the birth of a very interesting entitled Growth of Islamic Banking in Indonesia, Theory and Practice. It is a great day to see this book being published. At the same time, today, the Indonesian government is launching the National Wakaf Uang, also the launching of the economy Sharia. So it's a very interesting day for me to be involved in this session, as well as in witnessing the activity of Indonesian government. As for the book is very, I'm not sure whether you can hear me before I proceed further.
Yes, we can hear you, Dato. Yes, Dato, we can hear you from here.
Are you okay? Basically, the book is very special because the book about the theme of the growth of Islamic banking, and also the book is also about Indonesia, which is the powerhouse of Asia. So this is something interesting to see how Indonesia is becoming now, and would become one of the most active and most rapid growth of economy and banking in the region. And the third element, why the book is so important, because the authors, the book has two authors. One is from Japan, respected and esteemed Professor Suzuki, and another up-becoming scholar in Indonesia, Dr. Sigit Paramono. So the combination of the two minds, one from the Far East, very Far East, and one from Indonesian market, is a good hybrid of the two great minds coming together to write something in. The third element, why the book is so important, is about the methodology of the presentation of the narrative of the book. I'm very much impressed and happy and excited to see that the authors have adopted a very interesting methodology of research in order to write this book. The methodology has been very much investigative, unlocking, and a bit courageous to unlock the real or the potential issues on the ground. And this makes the book very much fresh, if you like, very much desirable, because it challenges your mind as you through the facts, the number, the development of the industry. Then we can also see the active mind behind the book, which is very, very powerful, very, very informative and insightful. The last, or the fourth and the last element I would like to speak in this short session, the book is also about the future. So once we talk about the futurist theme of the book, then the book is very much relevant for many, many years to come. And I'm excited to listen from many other keynote speakers just now, and perhaps the discussion a bit later, to see the value of the book in the case of Indonesia market in particular, and the other market in general. I would like to end my speech by congratulating the speakers, by congratulating the authors for their excellent writing, for their courage, having mental courage to share with us and to put on the main stage many relevant issues as we move on. My hope that the authors can continue writings in the near future by focusing on Islamic capital market, as Islamic capital market is much more powerful than Islamic banking to help funding the economic activities of Indonesia, the powerhouse of Asia. With that, I would like to thank everyone for having me in this opportunity. I can realize that the sound is not good. Better stop at the moment because the breaking voice will be comfortable to everyone. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Dr. Daud Bakat, for sharing his thoughts about the okay. And this, yeah, we also hope that there will be more from Dr. Hopefully, this will also inspire other writers to produce the same thing and to do the project, okay, or have a project with us. Hopefully, many other writers inspired to do this. Okay, the next speaker will be Mr. Suminto. Okay. Dr. Suminto, can you? Assalamualaikum, Dr. Suminto.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Suminto. So, Dr. Suminto is Minister for Macroeconomy and International Finance, Ministry of Finance, Republic of Indonesia.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Dr. Suminto?
Okay.
Can you hear my voice? Right, Dr. Suminto, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillah, it is my privilege to be invited in this book launch titled Growth of Islamic Banking of Indonesia, Theory and Practice, authored by Professor Yasushi Suzuki and Dr. Sigit Pramono. In fact, Dr. Sigit Pramono is my long friend, while Professor Yasushi Suzuki is my former PhD supervisor. So I'm very close to the authors. to some degree, I'm very familiar with the and the what so-called approach of Dr. Sigit Pramono and Yasuki Suzuki with respect to the Islamic finance. Ladies and gentlemen, after the ratification of Law Number 12, year 2008, concerning Islamic banking, we witnessed that the development of Indonesia's banking, Islamic banking industry was accelerated, and the government and authorities are committed in developing further the Islamic banking. As has been mentioned by Pak Kemal, that recently the government has launched the merge of the Islamic bank on by the government, namely Bank Syariah sendiri, BRI Syariah, and BNI. I believe that it is one important milestone in developing Islamic banking to next step. As you may aware that the government also just recently launched Komite Nasional Ekonomi Keuangan Syariah KNEKS, chaired directly by Pak Presiden. With the objective to accelerate, expand, and advance the development of Islamic economy and finance in the country. Even in the same time now, Pak Presiden, Pak Wapres, and related ministers and authorities launching the national initiative of cash wakaf in the palace, an initiative aiming to develop further the initiative on cash wakaf as an important element of Islamic philanthropy or social Islamic finance. In this opportunity, I wish to note that our strategic program to develop Islamic banking and finance industry should provide a constructive initiative for two main challenges. First, it is time to conduct a comprehensive research on how Islamic finance, respect Islamic banking industry would contribute to alleviating poverty, increasing the welfare, and realizing the social justice to the people. And secondly, it is time to encourage the banking industry to challenge the creative destruction in terms of computer, to respond to modern banking upon innovative financial products and technologies. Islamic banking industry is also expected to respond to the new modern practices. This book proposes such a perspective that Islamic bank must earn the extra profit, that is Islamic bank rent, so as to become prudent Sharia compliant bank. This proposal is suggestive, considering how Indonesia Islamic bank are going to respond to the new mode of the banking business model. I believe that this book will lead to a significant debate on the role of financial sector to incubate and develop the Islamic banking industry in Indonesia. Finally, I would like to congratulate Dr. Sugit Pramono and Professor Yasushi Suzuki for their excellent academic work. Hopefully, this written book can contribute as a useful academic discourse in filling the lack of research and publication on Islamic economic finance and supporting the development of Islamic banking industry in the future. I'm stopped here. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Suminto, for your speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and honorable speakers, I'm very excited to tell you that Dr. Sigit and Professor Suzuki have agreed to donate the royalty of the book to SEBI Social Fund is a Nazir Wakaf under Bina Sakofa Foundation, and it Badan Wakaf Indonesia. This action is a constitution project contributes to Wakaf development in Indonesia. Or I'm happy to invite Mr. Aris Hermawan, the director of SEBI Social Fund, to tell us more about the project. Mr. Aris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Rani. First, I would like to thank Mr. Dr. Yus Pramono, my teacher, and then Professor Yasushi Suzuki for donating the royalty of the book to Wakaf project of Japan. Then, my opinion, the strategic innovation of Wakaf program is an effort to encourage intellectual property, right instruments, including royalty and patent, to support the development of Wakaf, especially academic program, poverty elimination, and we are thankful to all stakeholders of Islamic economics and finance in supporting this program. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to witness the symbolic handover of the royalty of the book from Dr. Sigit on behalf of authors to Mr. Aris Hermawan as the director of the SEBI Social Fund.
Thank you.
Okay, and now is the handover of the Wakaf certificate from Dr. Aris Hermawan to Dr. Sigit on behalf of the authors. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, sir, you may sit down. we are also pleased to announce that several Islamic banks have decided to in this Wakaf project and collaborate with SEBI Social Fund. One of them is Bank Permata Syariah. On this occasion, we will also witness the symbolic circular signing of MOU between Bank Permata Syariah and SEBI Social Fund. The collaboration will include cooperation to develop Wakaf management and socialization of Wakaf project. Okay, can we have Ms. Okay, so Mr. Harwin, Mr. Harwin? Bank Permata Syariah will be represented by Mr. Herwin Stambul. Yes, of maaf, Mr. Herwin Gustaman. Herwin Gustaman. Okay, thank you. Pak Herwin? Pak Herwin, are you there? Can you hear me, Pak Herwin? We would like to congratulate Bank Permata Syariah for being appointed by the Ministry of Religious Affairs to become LKS Q2 or authorized recipient of cash wakaf. Bank Permata Syariah has also committed to support this project by buying a big number of books, which will be used as a means to enhance the literacy of Islamic economics and finance to their valuable customers. So besides Bank Permata Syariah, we are also excited to tell you that Bank BJBS, okay, will also participate to support this Wakaf program by buying some books to distribute to campus libraries located in West Java. Now we have also invited Mr. Indra Falatehan as the director, as the president director of Bank BJBS to show us the MOU and then show it to Mr. Aris Hermawan. Pak Indra, are you there? Or, okay. All right. Thank you, Bank Permata Syariah. Thank you, Bank BJBS, for participating in our project. And next, we are going to see a video about the Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, so this is the time for you to participate, to also take part in this program. So if you are interested to buy the book, you can order now by clicking the Google link that we shared in the chat room. Okay, so by clicking that, and then you will be able to order the number of books that you want to buy. And later on, there will also be a presentation from Routledge Publisher. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also take a part in this program. If you want to buy the book, you can simply click the link that we put there in the chat. Okay, so click the link, and then you will be directed to order how many books you want to buy. And other than that, we are also going to have a presentation from Routledge in the later part of this program. So don't wait. Let's do it now. Take part in the project. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can you hear my voice? Is my voice audible? Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
I can.
Right, so the link is there in the chat room. So go ahead, order the book, and take part in this Wakaf project. Now is the program that we have been waiting for, the book discussions. So among us are 5 prominent speakers who will be joining with us through Zoom. So we will have Dr. Rifki Ismail, Mr. Herwin Bustaman, Dr. Rahmanita Kasri, Professor Dr. Ois Amalia, and of course, Mr. Sigit Pramono, PhD. Okay. They will all give their time to present or to share their opinion about the book. Okay, so each of them will have 5 minutes. Okay, first thing, let's go on to the first discussion. Okay, the book discussion. We have Dr. Rifki Ismail. So Dr. Rifki Ismail is the Director of Islamic Economic and Finance Department, Bank Indonesia. Dr. Rifki, can you hear my voice? Hello, Dr. Rifki. Dr. Rifki, can you hear my voice? Assalamualaikum, Dr. Rifki. Oh, okay. So we will move on to the second one, Mr. Herwin Bustaman. Assalamualaikum, Pak Herwin. Assalamualaikum, Pak Herwin. Can you hear my voice? Pak Herwin?
Hello.
Is my voice loud and clear? There is a technical problem, I'm sorry. Pak Herwin? Oh, okay, because there is a little technical problem. We'll have to move on to the third speaker, Dr.
Hello.
Rahmatina.
Sorry, I can't hear
Oh,
anything from my iPad.
Can you hear me?
Bisa dengar suara saya?
Assalamualaikum, Pak. Oh ya, we can Pak. Assalamualaikum Pak Herwin.
Hello.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, we can hear you Pak. So, okay, Pak
Hello.
Herwin Bustaman is the director of PT Bank Permata TBK Syariah Business Division.
Sorry, suaranya tidak terdengar, Mas.
Oh,
I can't hear anything.
sorry. Check, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I can hear you now.
All right. Okay. Okay, let me just introduce you to the audience. So, Mr. Herwin Bustaman.
Yeah,
Hello,
okay,
Pak
I can
Herwin?
hear you now, but the line is breaking up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's breaking. Herwin.
Yeah, okay. Hello. Hello.
Okay, this is the problem. Picking up?
Should I just
Okay, Pak Herwin, the floor is yours. Go ahead,
Okay.
Pak.
Okay, yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Prof. Darujatun, Pak Kemal, Dr. Daud Bakar, Dr. Suminto, and the authors, Prof. Zulkifli and also Dr. Sigit Pramono. It is an honor to have been invited and seek for view on the book that titled The Growth of Islamic Banking in Indonesia and Theory and Practice. I think this book actually addressed the million-dollar questions from the practitioners, on why. Secondly, why we are also still lagging behind compared to the neighboring countries such as Malaysia. For me, to be honest with you, I think the book is very easy to follow and understand, considering that I'm academically still
my International Islamic University of Malaysia, Dr. Suminto, Mr. Kemal, and my fellow panelists, Dr. Rifki, Prof. Eis, and Mr. Herwin. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to be invited to book launching. Dr. Sigit Pramono was my senior colleague at Faculty of Economics, Universitas Indonesia, and if I can say, he is one of the pioneer and respectable Islamic economists in Indonesia. Professor Suzuki is also a very respected scholar, and we learn a lot from your work, Prof. I think last time we met was in Jakarta, 2018, when our center organized an international conference on Islamic economics, banking, and finance. And then allow me to congratulate Dr. Sigit Pramono and Professor Yasushi Suzuki for writing and publishing this great academic contribution. I think the book is a very important topic, 1 million questions, according to Mr. Herwin, which have long puzzled academics and policymakers in Indonesia. That is the low level and even stagnancy of penetration of Islamic banking in Indonesia, which is claimed to be the largest Muslim country worldwide, despite much effort being done by government, regulators, and various stakeholders. I myself have written several papers regarding Islamic banking in Indonesia, some of which are quoted in this book. Thank you, Dr. Sigit and Professor Suzuki. I discuss about growth, risk, and even corporate governance of Islamic banking in Indonesia. And the same questions raised, yet I still could not answer them satisfactorily. And therefore, I sincerely congratulate Dr. Sigit Pramono and Professor Yasushi Suzuki for their courage, for their commitment to take responsibility, to study, to write about this very important and challenging topic. Now, the main questions of the book is how can we make sense of this extraordinary level of Islamic banking deepening and the slow paced growth of Islamic banking in Indonesia? The 1 million question. Now, different from most studies which utilize the neoclassical approach, this book mainly drawn from the traditions of institutional economics, which are concerned with the rules or mechanism of creating the incentive and trade for economic players. The author hypothesized that Islamic banks must earn the extra income as earned by conventional banks. They call it as Islamic bank rent, so that Islamic banks may maintain their franchise value as prudent Sharia compliant lenders. The authors assume that insufficient provision of the Islamic bank rent opportunity may have lost Indonesia's Islamic banks the incentive to learn and to improve their skills and capacity. They further argued that Indonesian regulators could not correctly institutionalize a profit or rent opportunity to be captured by Islamic banks for the purpose of incubating the Indonesian Islamic banking industry. Now, in trying to answer the questions, the puzzles of the authors carefully write a comprehensive explanation through the theory and practices of Islamic banking in Indonesia in 10 chapters and 1 epilogue or summary chapters from the genesis and socio-development context of Islamic banking in Indonesia, reviewing related literature, conducting quantitative and qualitative analysis of various aspects of Islamic banking, such as financial performance and stability, competition, efficiency, and structural dilemma of Indonesia's Islamic banking. Now, I could say that the detailed examination and comprehensive scope of the book is one of the main strengths of the book written by Dr. Sigit Pramono and Prof. Suzuki. Now, the other strength would be the methodology and academic approach is taken. It challenges the neoclassical approach and offers the new institutional economic perspective. It also employed both quantitative and qualitative analysis, the Herfindahl index, model, and so on. Now, the other thing that I like about the book is that it challenges and intentionally invites, hopefully, productive debate. For example, in page 104, the authors write, we propose a view that Indonesia's Islamic banking industry has been trapped into a structural dilemma and hypothesize that Indonesia's decentralized and fragmented political structure is reflected in this dilemma. We have to admit that this view entails further testing and discussion. And then another challenge in page 115. There is a room to discuss the phenomenon of the low penetration of Indonesia's Islamic banks from a hypothetical perspective. In that, Indonesia might be trapped into a diminishing equilibrium between Sharia compliance and Sharia-based Raf al-Haraj, that is remove unnecessary hardship principle in fiqh muamalah as the benchmark. Now, this is another challenge launched by the book. So this is another thing that I like about the book. And in terms of language, I have to say that the language is relatively easy to understand. The narrative of Genesis of Islamic banking development written in this book is easy to read and understand. The summary section in each chapter helps ensuring proper understanding of the chapter itself. And actually, chapter 11 provides a good summary of the findings of the book. And finally, as of recommendation, the author suggested that some affirmative policies for the development of Indonesia's Islamic banking is a necessary condition. And the recommendation, the specific recommendations, there are 4 or 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken, some of which have been implemented recently. It's worth to be considered by policymakers and also academic debates. Now, I note one weakness of the book, which is perhaps one weakness. For an academic and economic textbook, perhaps more pages, more elaboration on the methods, mathematical equations could be added for an academic economic. More samples need to be added, not only comparison with Malaysia,